The legislation, the MMA, requires that the MLC spends a minimum of 3 years to match the historically unmatched or black box royalties. So unclaimed black box royalties are royalties that accumulate against the usage of musical works at DSPs that has not been paid out or not been collected by the proper rights holders. And there are many reasons why that happens. For example, a service could not know who the publisher is, and that could be because the work has not been registered. It could be because the service didn't do a good enough job of finding the publisher. The law requires a recipient of what's called a NOI, Section 115 NOI, who's going to use the compulsory mechanical license to only search the public records of the Copyright Office. So if you've never registered your song with the Copyright Office, and therefore it doesn't appear in the public records of the Copyright Office, then technically speaking, the Section 115 of the Copyright Act basically mandated that a person or entity that receives a compulsory license is not required to pay mechanical royalties until such time that the work has been registered with the Copyright Office and therefore available in the public records. But DSPs generally, in practice, would still accrue those mechanical royalties and hold them in sort of an escrow account, which we call the black box. There's other reasons why the mechanical royalties could fall into black box. There could be bad metadata where unique identifiers are not available to match the sound recordings to the musical works. There could be misspellings of names. It could be misspellings of titles. It could be unregistered works that are generating royalties, but the work doesn't appear in any rights database because it hasn't been registered by the rights holder. So many reasons why money can ultimately end up in this kind of black box. Come January, the MLC is supposed to receive all this black box or unclaimed royalties, and then we have a minimum of 3 years to match the sound recordings to the underlying musical work so that we can identify the rights holders and calculate and pay out those royalties. We've already begun that process. So we didn't wait to January to start trying to clean up the database and start matching sound recordings. We've already begun that process. So we have until February 2024. Okay. So February 2024. At that point, that would be the 3-year mark. But it's not our intention to just distribute the royalties at that point. Our intention is to continue to match the black box. So it could be 4 years, it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7, before we get to a point where we've matched as much as we can, and then there's some amount left over. At which point there's a distribution process. That process could be the processes that has been going on for a very long time, which is to distribute by market share. But that hasn't been decided on yet on what's going to happen yet. Our goal is to match as much as possible. So it's not to get the money out as fast as possible. It's to match as much as possible. Gotcha. And that means it could be much longer than 3 years.
Okay. Hopefully that cleared the mud for a lot of you out there, because I know a lot of people reached out to me, and I also saw people on other podcasts saying, yep, after 3 years, they're going to give your money away, So. Well,
I mean, the benefit of that misconception is that it should create a fear. Exactly. And it should create a fear in people that makes them take action. Because if you're hearing that in 3 years, your money's going to be given away, that means you have 3 years to register your works, to fix your metadata, to correct your address, to connect your bank account to the rights organizations, and not just MLC, because black box is not just mechanical royalties. There's black box royalties on the performance side. There's black box royalties on the sound recording side. So if you're an artist and you are receiving, you own your masters, there's royalties associated with that. So there's lots of black boxes.